masters of speed. This is Formula One.
Hello there, how you doing? Hope you guys are good, hope you guys are well. So, I am going to do the inters and wet setups in one, basically. And I'm not even bothering with Bahrain, Jeddah, all the desert type countries. I'm just not. So, I'm going to go straight into it with Australia. If you want Bahrain wet inters and wet setup and Jeddah inters and wet setup, let me know in the comments below. But this is Australia. And this is what I've gone with. So, this is the rule. And this rule applies to every single setup that you have got. So I have done a long, extensive list of the 24, 25 circuits, because including Portugal, setups for. They're in the channel. Go and find them. And there. Have a look at those. Those are the dry setups. So I've taken the same dry setup and applied this very simple rule. For an inter setup, you go +2. So that's +2 on the front. +2 on the rear for the wings, hence the reason why I'm running 38-22. There is no right or wrong way to go about it. If you need more wing, you put more wing on. If you need less wing, take less wing off. It all depends. But this is what I've gone for the inter setup. 38 on the front, 22 on the rear. If it was a wet race and a wet all race, I would change that to 40 and run 24 on the rear. Onto the transmission then, and I've kept everything the same as the dry setup except for diff on. It's about, simply put, it helps dampen the torque sent to the rear wheels to aid in traction. Other than that, everything else is exactly the same from the dry setup. Not changed anything, not done anything, and I would keep that the same for the wet setup. On the suspension geometry, and yeah, like all the other setups, shock. It is what it is. It's left, 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 left. On the suspension then, and I have changed 3 things from the dry setup. So if you want to go and mirror the dry setup versus the inters and wet setups, and I would run exactly the same for the wets as well, I have changed the front anti-roll bar from 21 down to 18. You need it a little less stiff, the car, because of slipping, sliding, etc, etc. And I have lowered the rear anti-roll bar, hence the reason why I've just said again, for the front, you need the car a little less stiff in wet weather, or inters or wet weather. And then I have hired the ride out for the front, in order for you not to hit those puddles and bottom out. That is the only 3 things I've changed for the suspension, and I would apply the same to the wet setup as well. Onto the brakes, not changed anything. Onto the tyres, again, not changed anything, and I wouldn't change the brakes or the tyre pressures for wet setups either. And that is it. That is it. So you have to change a handful of things. So as I said, going back to the start, +2 for inter setup, +4 for wet setup. If you need more, add more. If you need less, take less off. Just change the diff on. Nothing on the suspension, and I have changed the anti-roll bars and the ride out. That is it. Everything else is exactly the same as the dry setup. This has been Australia. That's how easy it is. I know it's. Don't mean to be condescending, but like, when you go past a certain point, I've said this before, I think, when you go past a certain point, all cars are set up the exact same. When you've got the base of it, or the nucleus of a setup, very subtle changes are needed to make it dry, make it wet, make it into weather. But let me know what you think of this setup. I really hope it helps. And if you want to see the Bahrain and Jeddah setup, I'll do them. But yeah, do all that good stuff, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I hope Australia helps. Take care.